Hello, I'm Tony, and welcome to the Tony Shap Show. Welcome back, everyone. Today I have a special guest, Kyle. I'm super excited to have him here, and I wanted to say first off, Kyle, thank you for your time, and welcome to the Tony Shap Show.
Excited to be here, Tony.
Awesome. So if you want to give us a heads up before we dive into the top 10 with Tony, give us a little background about who you are and what you do, and then we'll dive right into the top 10 questions.
Yeah, great. So Kyle York, CEO and co-founder of York.ie. We're a vertically integrated investment firm powered by market data and analytics, focused on growth, go-to-market, and strategy. And we work with startups in a myriad of ways, helping them scale their businesses. And comes on the backs of many years as an operator, as an angel investor, growing up in a family business. I just love the art of business making, and excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, welcome, and we're glad to have you. So
Awesome.
Let's dive right in. Top 10 with Tony here. There's a famous one-word open. What's the one word that you could describe right? If you could use one word to describe how you're feeling right now, Kyle, tell us what that is.
Motivated.
Awesome. And how did you get started in this business? I know you gave us a high-level overview, but tell us how you got started in this business and all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So my background, I grew up in a family business, a sporting good retailer here in New Hampshire. And really the one business was actually 5 separate businesses. It was a retail business, a team and league business. It was a real estate business. It was a parking lot business. There was a lot of different things going on. And that sort of led me to this idea of my future that would be this portfolio approach to business. But to foundationally get there, my biggest success was I helped as chief revenue officer build a company called Dine in Manchester, New Hampshire, that we scaled to 100 million of recurring revenue and sold to Oracle in 2016 for a pretty handsome price. And in parallel to that, as my operating career as a sales and marketing leader and business leader, I was angel investing, advising, doing boards. And so really what York.ie is the manifestation of both those career tracks merged together. I wanted to still be an operator and be an operating extension of the entrepreneurs and founders we back. But I also, wanted to invest, and I didn't want to go down some traditional VC, PE, kind of broker dealer style track. I wanted to do it in a unique and differentiated way. So, we really think we're building a really fascinating new model to early stage investing, advising, and growth that I'm very confident and motivated is really working and impacting the startup landscape.
That's awesome. Let's dive right into your wins. Tell us, a recent win that you had and what you learned from it. That would be great.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I'm motivated is I woke up this morning on a Monday after a long Thanksgiving weekend and had a new advisory services engagement, a company on the West Coast. We met through a co-investor in another deal who's bringing us in to help them scale their brand, their go-to-market, their messaging, their pricing, their packaging. Early stage startup in the collaboration software space. And so, woke up, we had given a proposal right before the break and got a check that, we're good to go forward this morning. So it's just a great win. I think it's important for people in building startups, especially, to celebrate every win and remember it's always anchored in the customer. And, so getting a new one and coming on the backs of your reputation in the market and as a warm referral from a co-investor and industry friend is a great win. That's certainly getting us kickstarted this week.
That's really awesome. And, it's like running a marathon when you run a business, right? And it's good to celebrate little milestones and wins. Like you said, I couldn't have put it better. That was really awesome. So let's talk the opposite side of that. What's a recent failure that you had? I know we don't like to talk about failures, but it's there, and that's what helps us grow sometimes. But tell us, what is a recent failure that you had that you consider big and what you learned from it, Kyle?
Yeah, so I think, a recent failure we had was something I never even knew actually happened. It was a personal thing. Several years ago, I was at an event and I was a speaker at the event, and it was a small breakout session that only had a handful of people. And there was supposed to be a moderator for the event. And I actually didn't realize that it was so structured. And I actually told the moderator that the other panelists and I didn't need a moderator. So flash forward 8 years later, I got an email just recently from a woman who thought that I was rude and disregarded her as a potential as a moderator for the panel I was supposed to be on, when I didn't even realize I had made a negative impact, or had hurt her feelings, or had discounted her ability, or what have you. And so it was a real learning for me of a failure of empathy, and not realizing that my own, what I thought was freeing someone up for a half hour, was actually disrespectful. And so again, you learn from these little moments, these little failures, and regroup. And I've since followed up probably way too many times apologizing. But I think these are the types of things, to me, they're not always big to you necessarily, but they're big to somebody else. So I think that's a really important lesson that I learned, that I hope to learn from moving forward.
Thanks for sharing that with us. That was really powerful because, to your point, you don't know what's going on in their world, right? And what you say, especially on email, if you email someone something and loses context, I'm sure you've experienced that too.
Totally.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you learned from it, and thanks for sharing that with us. That could save someone a huge headache in the
And
future.
honestly, when it came to me, I was shocked. It took me a while to remember the day. I mean, it was several years ago, but just to realize, like, a little bit of, like, probably in the busyness of my day, no excuses, I probably blew her off. And to realize just that little moment, someone else felt the way they felt for what, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That's something that I want to nip in the bud right away, and just be more mindful of going forward.
Awesome. Let's talk about your most significant expense today. What is that? What is that? So everyone knows. What's your biggest
Oh, I
expense
mean,
today?
mine is completely just talent in general. We're a early stage investment firm, and we've got a 15-person full-time team. And for kind of the size and stage, we're only a year into building York.ie. We launched in September of 2019. A 15-person organization is quite large for the investments firm foundation that we have. But it's because we're launching our advisory consulting services, because we're building our proprietary marketing competitive intelligence platform called Fuel. We're not just an investment firm or an early stage seed firm. That's to the point I was making earlier, Tony, of also being an operational extension of the teams we back, and being an investor. So when you try to do something unique and different, the best way to do it is to build the best team in the world, and that requires capital. And you need to be willing to put the capital into the company, and that's what we're doing, and that's our biggest expense. And I think it's honestly the thing that should be the biggest expense for all companies.
Understood. So talent. Thanks for sharing that with us. Is credit card processing anywhere in the top 5 highest expenses if you even do accept credit cards?
So right now, our revenue model is predominantly consulting services across a few dozen customers. So, it's a very minimal expense. As we move to e-commerce on our SaaS platform, we plan on launching in the spring of next year. Absolutely, that's going to be a huge component. Everything in the workflow of credit card processing, from the front end user experience, the fraud prevention. One of the biggest tricks at my company Dine that we scaled to 100 million is we actually had about 25 million through a credit card, through e-commerce. And one of the biggest tricks to our revenue and our retention was a lot of credit card processing systems will do the expiration date check and sort of find the new check. And it was an amazing upward retention rate we ended up having of our consumer customer base, self-serve customer base, the moment we figured that out with our credit card processor. So yeah, I mean, I think it will become bigger and bigger. Also, we're a portfolio, so we have dozens and dozens of customers and investments, and many of them have D2C or bottoms up go-to-market strategies where they're collecting credit cards online. So it's a huge part of many of our customers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What you're talking about is a card updater, which updates the credit card. It's huge. It helps a lot of customers with clients with MRR. And FedEx actually has another level of it. Just to let you know, it's a funny story. My credit card got hacked, and I got a new credit card. It's a completely different number, and FedEx was able to update that without me giving it to them. So that's a
Wow.
technology piece because I've authorized them and they have my card on
Right.
file for. So it's crazy how that works. But and then going back on your largest expense as of today, which is talent. Um, That's huge. You got to have the right people on your team, like a lot of people say. And if one bad apple could ruin the whole basket of apples, right? And you know, you got to hire slow, fire fast. If there's a bad apple when it comes to
Especially
talent.
when you're creating an innovator. I think we are trying to create a modern startup oriented version of a Bain or McKinsey meets Gartner and Forrester, but doing that through technology and automation. It
Yeah.
still requires a really rock star team. And I think one of the hardest things in my career is, as organizations I've worked for have ballooned and grown to hundreds and hundreds of people, is you start to, not knowing everybody's name. And I sort of cherish the time when you know everyone's name, and you know what's going on at home, and you know what's up with their kids and their parents and their siblings, where they live, where they work, all these things. I think in the Zoom culture, it's opening the door to a lot more of the interpersonal relations that I love of company building, because as a leader, there's nothing that motivates me more than creating an impact on the people I work with, who I work for, who I collaborate with, who are in our portfolio of investments or customers. I just love seeing other people succeed, and being a small piece in helping accomplish that is really something.
I really love this, and thanks for being so transparent and sharing your gems with us. Because as we've hit our stride, so to speak, in this conversation, I think you're giving a lot of value to our listeners, and also it's a chance for you to, you're making a difference to a lot of people that are listening. So I wanted to say thank you. And I know we're only middle way through, but I wanted to say thank you. Let's talk about your most favorite online business tool. What is that for you today?
Man, that's a great question. I was actually I have a few, but I think number one, the one that I've been using a great deal is it's a little bit of a plug, but it's a company called Cloud App. It's a video collaboration platform, so it enables you to record yourself, do screenshots of your screen, annotate them, play it back. And so I've been doing it a lot for team updates and portfolio updates and investment partner updates. We have a lot of co-investors, high net worth individuals and family offices, about 25 of them, who invest with us. So it's a great way for me to do what I'm doing right now with you, record myself for 3 minutes. People can watch it back on 2x speed. I sound a little bit like a chipmunk, but it enables them to watch it really, really fast. And so it's just been a tool. And then I can track the analytics of who watched it, when they watched it, who isn't engaging. So it just enables me to use it as a real nice collaboration tool. So I think that's one that I'd like to plug. I'm on the board. I'm an investor in full transparency, but it's one that I've just really been leveraging more and more in my day-to-day communication. Not everything needs to be an email. Not everything needs to be a Slack or a text message or even our Zoom call, right? Some things can be captured pretty quickly, especially those in sales and marketing, customer support functions. I think, there's a lot of ways to communicate, and using the tools at your disposal is critical right now more than ever.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it more. What's funny, to your point, when you fast forward, or increase the speed. You know how they say your brain could comprehend double the speed of someone talking. But I find that hard to be true, because I'll go on podcasts and I'm trying to shorten the time. I'll go 2x or 1.5. But sometimes it depends on the speaker. If they already talk fast, then you do it twice, is definitely chipmunk, and it's hard to comprehend. So I've been kind of battling with that, trying to understand where, hey, my brain is supposed to comprehend 2x the speed, but then when I go on the podcast and do it 2x speed, or YouTube, it sometimes it's like
Makes me have to
50-50.
actually, yeah, it makes me actually have to listen to it twice, which is ironic, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
and other times I like to take notes off those things, or oh, I really like that line. Let's go, turn that into a blog later, or I'm going to use that in my pitch deck about the SaaS market, or what
Yeah,
have you. And you find yourself trying to find it or timestamp it. So maybe it does. Maybe it allows you to multitask better and get more things done in your day. But I'm not sure
yeah,
it necessarily perfectly helps productivity.
so true. Let's just jump into the next question. So what's your best resources today for acquiring new high value clients?
Oh man, ours right now, because we're early stage and because we're being pretty strategic. I mean, we can only invest in so many companies per year. We can only support through our consulting services so many companies per year. It's absolutely our network. And everyone kind of maybe says that in some regard. I don't know if they do from a customer acquisition perspective, but our network has really been lit up since we launched York.ie. People who have their investments or their friends or their former colleagues or classmates starting companies and looking for a resource to help them figure it out. So much of my network is deeply technical because Dyn was an internet infrastructure company, a cloud computing company. And then I spent 3 years as a GM at Oracle after the acquisition in the engineering group. So many of my so much of my network is really deep technology. So our skill sets as go to market, finance, revenue, marketing are very complementary to that network too. So it's really been a enjoyable for me over the last year, coming from where I've come from in my SaaS background as an operator, my infrastructure background as an operator. York.ie is really the most genuine thing I've done yet because it enables me to sort of scale my value across my team, my co-founders Joe and Adam, across a portfolio really where we're best and really where we enjoy, which is early stage scaling, helping find that product market fit, trying to find that repeatability in the go-to-market motion, and then inevitably the scale. So I think lighting up the network for what we're doing now is really just an amazing fit.
I love it. Let's reverse, change it up a little bit. So, what's one question that I should be asking you, Kyle, that I haven't? Like, what? I mean, if you had to pick one question that, whenever you're being interviewed or you are giving a talk, what's one question you wish someone would ask you that they never ask about you?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I feel like everyone always talks to you about um, your like backstory and where you've come from, but no one ever asks you like, hey, so you've been in your career now 20 years. Where are you going to be in 20 years, right?
Mm,
And force out the sort of long game view and the vision. And again, I'm not sure a lot of people necessarily focus enough on that. Their own personal career narrative, their career arc, the vision for themselves and where they'd like to be. Again, a lot of it is based on your CV, your resume, your LinkedIn, what you've already done. And I think it's something that I try to think about the long game a lot. I try to think about where I'm going, and then I like to work on backwards plans. To today, the milestones I need to hit to get there. Where I think a lot of people, especially in startup land, might have a big vision, but then they think really like day to day execution out. We call that product out versus market in. So I think the long game question and the vision question is one that people really should be thinking about, both in their personal lives and in their work lives.
that's really awesome. Thank you. And sadly, as we're coming to a close here, where can our listeners find you? Tell us your website. I'll put in the show notes and tell them, if they have any questions about this conversation or about your companies and what you're up to, or how can they follow you? How can they reach out to you if they have any questions?
Yeah, great. So check out York.ie. That's our website. We've got tons of resources on there for entrepreneurs, from our blog, our startup growth blog, to our ebooks. We provide lots of services. We invest in the cream of the crop B2B software companies. So if you're a B2B software company in the early stages and are looking for investment or help, let us know. We're on all social channels at York Growth, and I'm KYork20 across those social channels as well. So feel free to get in touch, follow along. We're putting out an outrageous amount of content. We were recently ranked by FeedSpot the number 32 startup blog in the world, and we've only been at it 12 months. So there's a lot of great content out there for entrepreneurs, and we hope you follow along.
That's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us about your growth with content marketing. And here we are at the final finish line. What's the one word close that you could describe how you're feeling right now, Kyle?
Tired. And I'm tired because it was a long Thanksgiving weekend, and I ate way too much, and we just ran through this really quick. So I'm gonna go get some lunch, probably something lighter than open faced turkey sandwich.
Absolutely. Well, I'm totally motivated after speaking to you. Your energy was just so positive, and there's so much great information you shared with us. I'm totally motivated. So there you have it, folks. There's Kyle. We appreciate him coming on here and sharing his value, his value prop, his gems, his where he is today, where he's going to be, and more important, like you said, a lot of people don't talk about this. It's where you're going to be in 20 years. Everyone talks about how you got here. If you've had I always say, a 5-year overnight success. Everyone's so interested in that narrative, but where are you going to be in 20 years from now? That's a big game plan. So that's a really eye opener. So thanks for sharing that with us, and all the other things that you've shared with us in terms of having the right talent, and how you're managing your expenses, and where you're going to be in 20 years. It sounds like you're on your way.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Until next time. Take care.
And there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, and great to have you, and thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Till next time, onwards and upwards.